Hi, welcome to Tranquil.
From the moment you arrive, you're in a place where you're seen, valued, and supported.
We listen first because every story, every detail matters.
This is your space where your story is honored and your journey respected.
We provide care and comfort around the clock so you can truly rest and recover.
Wellness is balance, mind, body, and spirit. And sometimes, joy itself is the best therapy.
Creativity gives a voice to what words cannot express.
Where needed, we combine therapy and evidence-based medical care, all personalized to you.
In every test, we ensure accuracy because your wellness deserves no less.
Here, every prescription is not just medicine, but it is part of your healing journey.
Nourishment is healing too. Every plate is designed to restore your body, mind, and spirit.
Behind the scenes, our teams work together to uphold the highest standards of care.
Healing doesn't have to be lonely. Together, we can grow stronger.
Karibu Tranquil.
And welcome to another episode of Mental Health right here on Capuchin TV with me, Maureen Kimani, a program brought to you by Tranquil Med Center here in Karen, as we continue to have a discussion and to demystify about this conversation that surrounds mental health and why is it so important for one to take care of their mental well-being. And of course, last time we had another episode where we were discussing about mental health, unpacking the myths, some of the signs that one needs to watch out. And today we continue with this discussion as we have a representative from Tranquil Med Center, and he will be telling us more about our conversation today. Why is this conversation so vital for us to continue preaching the gospel about mental well-being? And of course, in case you'd like to kick in and to send your question, to send your feedback right here on Capuchin TV, you can definitely reach out to us on 0717-424-866, or you can use the SMS number that is 21760. Tell us where you're watching us from and what is your question that you'd like to send to us as a conversation for today. Is protecting your mental health in today's busy world. We'll get to know why is it a busy world and what you need to do to make sure that your mental well-being is all taken care of. So stick around, and a very good morning to you.
Good morning,
Justus.
Maureen.
Thank you so much for making time and for being here to have this discussion with us. But because it's the first time we're having you here, could you kindly introduce yourself to our viewer and tell us more about Tranquil Med Center?
Thank you, Maureen, for the opportunity to be here for the first time. I'm Justus Mokaya, counseling psychologist from Tranquil Med Center, a level 4 hospital that deals with comprehensive mental health care, where we are focused on helping clients through inpatient and outpatient programs. We are also giving psychotherapy, family therapy, addiction support, and also corporate programs. Yeah, so I believe as we proceed, we'll be able to share more about what we do.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for making time, and looking forward to what we shall be discussing and getting to unpack this conversation. And just to mention that mental health touches each one of us. But sometimes this topic is left unspoken. But for the past years, we've seen people coming out forward, preaching about mental health. Like the month of June, we have Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. But first, could you kindly tell us more, what is mental health and why is it so important even for us to have this discussion?
Sure. Mental health refers to our social, emotional, and psychological well-being. And actually, it also informs on how we interact with other people and our relationship as far as other people are concerned. It is very important, it's a very important aspect to consider, especially in the contemporary society, because it affects our work, it affects school, it affects academic performance, it affects relationship, And it also affects work output. Yeah. So it is very important. It's a topic that we cannot ignore. Yeah, it's very important to discuss about it and also get to know how we can deliberate on some of the issues, paramount issues that have always been in the contention for over many years. Yeah.
All right, and I love the fact that you mentioned about output that is in our workplaces. Yes. The fact that your area of specialization is addiction, recovery, we have employee wellness. You'll be discussing and telling us more details on how to take care of ourselves as far as our conversation today is concerned. So just to continue with our discussion, why is it so that nowadays we have mental health awareness programs? For example, we have a facility that only focuses on our mental well-being, that is Tranquil Med Center. I think in the past years, I don't know if our grandmothers used to have such conversation, but in these recent years, we have seen groups coming out to talk about this topic. Why now, but not back?
Actually, that's a very good question, and I'm happy to hear. I will be more glad to hear more people asking such questions even out here. First and foremost, people are aware about mental health. We are still, of course, creating awareness, but we've done so far a good job. That's why you can hear everybody's talking about my mental well-being, my mental health, all those kinds. So the first thing is that people are aware that there's a lot of mental issues affecting people. Of course, discrimination also being in the equation. In those those eras that you mentioned, people are not aware about mental issues affecting people in the areas that I've already mentioned. So people used to think it's a curse, maybe it's a generational thing, but nowadays people are more aware. And also considering a lot of issues that has come with industrialization, of course, unemployment, a lot of stress, a lot of financial constraints, a lot of family issues, family conflict. So all those things actually have motivated people to seek for mental health services. Yeah.
And what are some of the common signs and factors affecting mental well-being today in today's society?
Yeah, of course, when it comes to factors affecting mental well-being, we have chronic stress, we have family conflicts, as I've mentioned, we have unemployment, we have parenting issues, we also have, of course, technology not being left aside, and also a lot of life pressures. In general, people are chasing a lot of things, and to the point of forgetting about self-care. Yeah, you can't compare actually the contemporary society and the probably the pre-colonial societies that we had, because right now people are after having the modern life, which has more pressures compared to the life we used to live, whereby culture was communal. Right now, in the modern culture, the culture is individual. Yeah, so everybody is fighting his own race. So people don't consider the collective culture. They don't embrace the collective culture where we used to have. If we have a challenge, you have a problem you are going through, a community will come through for you. Nowadays, ni shida yako peke yako. Yeah.
All right, and how would you categorize these factors? The fact that we have different age groups in our society. For example, we have the young people, those are the Gen Zs and the youth. We have the women, we have the men. So what are some of the factors that you can try to differentiate from these groups that I have mentioned about?
Okay, if you look at in terms of age, okay, we can say, for instance, parents. The issues affecting parents, of course, is that generational gap. I call it generational gap because parents feel like the young generation is doomed. And the young generation feels like, our parents, hawatuelewi. So there is that disparity which makes it hard to meet halfway. So there is also an issue of, as far as the generation is concerned, financial constraints. When I talk about financial parenting, of course, in the current era is not easy. People are struggling financially. Paying school fees, paying bills is not easy. So those are actually economical, socio-economical issues that are affecting parents. When it comes to the young generation, of course, academic pressures, yeah? Social media, let me say technology is affecting the young generation. I don't think that my mother is pressured by social media because I highly doubt whether she's even on TikTok. But I believe my siblings are on TikTok. And now peer pressure is a thing. It's actually the order of the day because now people do comparisons. And that comparison is impacting mental well-being. What people forget is that whatever you see on social media is just an highlight. It's not a reality. So when it comes to generation, we have that peer influence, academic pressure, and also actually substance abuse. Substance abuse is very rampant. Of course, suicide is not left in. If you check on some of the statistics that have been that are out here, you realize suicide rates among the young population is high as compared to our parents. So there is that attempt to commit suicide, giving up, hopelessness among the young population. And I think I can categorize in terms of that those two groups. Our parents, all the millennials, the baby boomers, and also the Gen Zs. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, if you take a look on the nowadays relationships with the Gen Zs and the millennials, you can't compare them with the grandmothers back then, because nowadays we have lots information and challenges going on with the couples, young couples, you would say. We have the killing each other. Would you say that is part of mental health issue?
Homicide, actually. Homicide is also part of the challenge we are facing among the young population. Of course, over even this year, you can quote many deaths that have occurred out of, let me say, I think it's out of mental issues, because you've seen the old generation campus students going to date old men for the sake of money. And I believe that money comes with a lot of peer pressure from social media. You want to take a flight to Mombasa, you want to go to Dubai, your parent cannot provide for that. And it takes you back to the social media comparison I was talking about. Also, dating struggle is also an issue. So you can also identify that as a challenge that is coming out, because this young generation is a bit lost, if I can say it. Okay, let me not say lost. They don't have an ideal way, an ideal sense of direction. And I feel it's also because of the socioeconomic pressure from parents. They are not available. They are not available to give them a good direction on what is good for you at this particular moment, what should you chase, what should you leave aside. Wako peke yao kwa ulimwengu. They are just, actually, I do say they have many lecturers out here. The friends they have, they are friends actually who don't know how to advise themselves. So I can say that there's also relationship struggles because the parents are not in the picture, or if they are in the picture, they are not 100% in the picture to know the struggles the young generation are going through. Mm-hmm. That is also affecting their mental well-being. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. And just taking you back on your area of specialization in mental health, in addiction, recovery, we have employee wellness and psychosocial support. What are some of the warning signs that you need to pay attention to? For example, if you differentiate on the employee wellness, we have the addiction. I think we can try to break it down for us. What are some of the warning signs that people will need to watch out as far as addiction is concerned and as far as employee wellness is concerned too?
Yeah, okay, you've heard many people say, I'm stressed out. But the question is stress a good thing or a bad thing? I can say stress is not bad. But stress can be bad if it is persistent stress, if it persists for more than maybe 2 weeks, if it is going to be something that is going to disturb your functioning occupationally. So one sign is having too much stress. Stress that is long-standing, stress that you cannot manage, stress that affects you to the point of not going to work, stress that even affects you to a level of even losing appetite, having something like sleep disturbance. So when it comes to addiction, of course, addiction, for instance, alcohol use, marijuana use, or any substance abuse, is a symptom of something, is a sign of something that mentally somebody is not doing well. So some people think it's a moral failure. No, addiction is not a moral failure. It's just a symptom indicating that there is something wrong that needs to be fixed, especially mentally. So I can say when you see people indulging in substance, they are trying to cope with something, maybe out of that stress, maybe out of loss and grief, maybe out of separation, out of divorce, out of maybe academic challenges, some of the things that I've already mentioned. And other maybe factors you may consider, we call them red flags that you need psychological support. You find maybe isolation, maybe somebody want to isolate from friends, want to be away from family members. Also there is sadness, prolonged sadness. Of course, sadness is sometimes is not bad. You know, people think you should not be sad, but it should not take long. It should be short-lived. But sadness that persists for a long time, then that is a symptom that there's something that needs to be fixed. And then there is also low concentration span being short. You realize maybe somebody was doing so well, but maybe at workplace, in academic performance, this person has reduced in terms of the concentration. That is also an indicator. Irritability is another thing. Makasiriko ya ovyo ovyo. Yeah, that's also a red flag. It's a symptom that there is something that is not okay within you psychologically. So you realize that, then it is high time to seek professional support. Let me say professional psychotherapy. Yeah, because we have many therapists outside here, but not professionally accredited or approved. And many other symptoms like insomnia, thinking of taking away your life, that is committing suicide, giving up in life, not feeling motivated to go to work, maybe avoiding social setups, and a lot of many symptoms. There are many, yeah, okay. But to mention a few.
All right.
Yeah.
And just to ask you on that note, because we've seen a traditional where we have young people on the weekends going out to, you know, to different functions and to clubbing, just to name a few. Would you describe that young people are withdrawing from the reality just to help them curb and deal with their own mental well-being and mental illnesses, because they don't want to see the reality of life? That is when you talk about the economic issues, the pressures, peer pressure online. You want to, you know, have a high standard of living, maintain a different lifestyle that you cannot be able to just because you're saying your friends have a certain lifestyle. Would you say that they are withdrawing, and that's why we have a higher population and higher percentage of even women going out? Is it because of the reality of life, or what is going on?
So if it is something to do with clubbing, and then I can say, why clubbing? Clubbing, I heard somebody say, sherehe bila pombe sio sherehe. So when you talk about clubbing, the aspect of alcohol comes in. And if indeed the motivation is to go and have that drink, then that one is a mental health challenge, because each and every weekend when it comes, you feel like the whole week you've been working, you are stressed, maybe you have burnout, something like burnout, compassion, fatigue, and then you feel it is necessary for you to join your clique and enjoy life. Then that is a mental issue. But now when it comes to people going maybe for road trips, that is, I call it social self-care. Social self-care. If you are going for a road trip, go have a nyama choma somewhere, go do some team building activities. That is a healthy way of coping with life. Hiking, that is a healthy way of taking care of yourself. Because again, self-care cuts across. You see? You have to take care of yourself emotionally, socially, psychologically, spiritually, mentally. All those 5 aspects has to cut across. But if you find yourself, you are going to meet people, go for maybe a trip, and you realize in each and every trip that you are attending, kuna ulevi ndani kidogo, na lazima utalewa, then we bring in the aspect of peer influence in a negative way. Yeah. Because at the end of it, how does addiction kicks in? We start socially. We start socially. Pole too, and then you find yourself addicted.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And in your topics and points that you were able to point out, you mentioned about sleep. Why is it important for one to sleep, and how does it contribute to your mental well-being? Yes.
Yeah, sleep is very important. One, it gives your brain time to recover and reset. Yeah. Ideally, for a grown-up, you should sleep 6 to 8 hours. Well, if you sleep up to 12 hours, we have no problem. But the standard one, 6 to 8 hours, so that in the following day you can be productive. It also gives you time to re-energize, of course. I know, okay, from experience, I've seen for people, you realize these people who have been chewing mirror, they go for 3 days without sleeping, even napping. But the day that person falls asleep, you will just go for another 3 days without waking up. That means overworking your internal system, which is not healthy for you. We have to balance these things. So sleep is very important for even your physical well-being. For you to be able to be productive during the day, you have to take enough rest. Yeah.
All right. And what are some of the practical ways that the community, the families, and the support groups can be able to come together and to work on to support mental health to the people suffering? Those are the sick people who have mental illnesses issues. And what can churches and religion do to support these people and to support the community, family members? Because I think the last time we had this conversation, I mentioned that you find some of the families who have children who have mental illnesses. For example, we talk of autism. The parents tend to enclose their children, not exposing them to the world and to other kids to play. So how does that contribute and affect the child well-being and the growth of the children and even the grown-ups?
Okay, you know, according to somebody called Abraham Maslow, there is the hierarchy of needs where love and belonging is very important. And the love and belonging actually begins from the family. The first place, the family must provide a safe environment for this loved one who is having maybe a mental illness to thrive in. The first point it should be, they should actually be able to attend to that person, listen without judgment, make them feel heard, make them feel accepted. So the moment now they start, you've said locking them, not to be, maybe to mingle with the other people in the community. And then these individuals will grow up knowing that me having this kind of a mental illness, it is something that is maybe a curse, maybe prohibited in the community, not wanted by anybody. So you realize even if this person had potentials of becoming somebody in the community, he will not be able to exploit those potentials because from the family, he or she has been trained not to stand out on him or herself. So the community or the family stands a chance, first of all, to nurture the potentials in this client. You cannot look at a disability in somebody and then that gives you the reason to prevent that person from thriving in life because we have different talents, different gifts that should be nurtured. And the first school is the family environment. So the family has a big role to play. You have to make that person feel at home, make that person feel heard, make that person feel understood, and actually motivate and encourage that person that he or she can become a very important person in the community. Where I schooled, we had many students with disabilities, but they could do things that I personally cannot do. I believe it's because of the family. Again, also schools, when you talk about institutions like schools should also be able to embrace counseling services, professional counseling services. Yeah, they should also be able to champion healthy talks. Actually, also train emotional skills on students on how can you apply some techniques when you are emotionally overwhelmed. Those are the roles institutions like school should be able to do. When it comes to the church, should instill hope in the first place. Instill hope, encourage people to seek professional therapy, and also actually preach the gospel of mental health by telling people that seeking mental health services is not weakness, it is a sign of strength. And it is not a disorder per se. Yeah? So let them validate and champion mental well-being by encouraging people to seek, and even outsourcing places like Tranquil Med Center. Yeah. Because I'm very certain that majority of our people are suffering in silence because they don't understand, number one, where these facilities are located. They don't also know that we have professional service providers who can rescue them from the struggles they are in. So our churches can also help us do that, just the way you've done today, calling me on board to sensitize the community on mental well-being. Yeah.
All right, and still on that point, I've been able to pay attention to some of the community, how they behave, and you find that the caregivers are most left out because they dedicate themselves on the time of taking care of the patients who are suffering from the mental illnesses, but they have a lot of luggage, would you say, in themselves, and sometimes they don't also seek help, because by taking care of a mental health patient, you find that also for them it affects them, whether emotionally, physically. You talk of mental health services, sometimes it can be expensive, so they don't speak out. Does Tranquil Med Center have support for the caregivers as part as they come to bring the patients around there at the facility? Do the caregivers also get some counseling sessions? Because I feel they also need to have a platform where they can be able to speak on what are some of the challenges that they go through by taking care of their mental health patients.
Sure. So in Tranquil, we say care for carers, number one. So that tells you we are also interested in the well-being of those who are also caregivers. And actually, it is our norm that when we are treating our clients, we also reach out to family members. We also reach out to relatives and get to know, because when it comes to mental illness, the clients are just bearers of what is happening in the family. So once a client is maybe sick mentally, it affects the entire family. It affects even the social cycle surrounding that client. So that's why I mentioned at the beginning that we also do family therapy sessions, couple therapy sessions, and also corporate programs. As of course, I believe if an employee is referred to Tranquil Med Center, then the employer has been affected in the first place. Umempa stress, work in terms of work delivery, iko chini. Because now you realize when it comes to the corporate world, you realize mkubwa wako na mkubwa wake. So when you don't deliver, he gets affected or she gets affected, because the top leadership is expecting output in a good way. So we bring all those people on board and we do therapy with them, and also we do even some assessments. We get to know, okay, we are treating this one, but we also realize you are also not doing well. And then we treat the whole system. Let me say it's a systemic, we use a systemic approach when it comes to treatment. Yeah, so the carers or the caregivers are also in the picture. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Justice, for at least shedding more light on that topic and conversation that needs to be. Actually, every day we need to speak about mental health. Just the same way we wake up, we pray, and we read the Bible. We need to reach out and to create awareness on mental health topic, because it's a very big topic even in our country, in our society, everywhere, in our environment, whether it's in the church, in our workplaces, in matatus. I think I told Victor last time, the same way we have pastors preaching in the matatus, we need to have people
preaching about mental health.
Mental health, because I think even in the matatu, people just have lots of thoughts once they are traveling. So at least preaching about mental well-being is very important, even in the matatus. Whatever the groups that you are in, even in the chamas, at least you can have a safer environment for everyone. So just to talk about some of the myths and misconceptions that we have concerning mental health, because I know it's a lot just you mentioned about uchawi and caste, genetic. What are some of other myths that you need to demystify when it comes to mental health topic?
Yeah, we need to demystify a lot of myths. Number one, people think being mentally ill is like being mad. This person is mad. They say mwenda wazimu, which is not the case. I did start by saying stress. Even prolonged stress is a mental illness, because it is going to affect how you function. It is going to affect your day-to-day activities. It is going to affect your appetite. It's going to affect even your sleep pattern. So that is a mental illness. Just think of it from that point. If you are not going to concentrate at work, that means you have a mental challenge. But now the problem is when people hear the word mental, they start demonizing things. Mental, for example, we talk about Tranquil being a mental health facility, and then people are like, mental? Madare or something else? No, that is not the case. They first need to overcome that stereotype that comes, or mental schema that comes with the word mental. Other people think seeking mental health services is a sign of weakness. No, it's not a sign of weakness. Actually, it's a sign of strength. It shows how well are you informed when it comes to your mental health. Another myth is that only maybe a given gender that should seek mental health services. For example, ladies, you hear men say, me going to talk about my problems? No, never. I will talk about your problems how as a man. So that is also another myth, people believing that mental health services were brought about to help women, because it's only women or the female gender which likes talking about their issues. So those are some of the few myths that I can mention now.
All right. And what are some of the advices that you can give to the patients who are suffering from mental illnesses? And again, still on the myths and misconception, someone asked, can someone who have been diagnosed with mental illness, can it heal, or is it a lifetime problem?
It depends. Of course, it attracts many things, many factors on board. It can heal, or it can be managed. We've seen those mental illness which can heal. For example, a psychosis that has maybe occurred out of somebody abusing drugs. Jamaa amepiga cocktail ya bangi, sigara, pombe, amemix, and then gets into psychotic features. That is something which can be treated, and then the person goes back. But now, for you to make to that point, it entails a lot of things. Number one, lifestyle changes. Yeah? Even if we talk about depression, somebody has been diagnosed with the depression as a mental illness. You can heal with it if we are going to embrace lifestyle changes. Number one, of course, with medication. Number two, with psychotherapy. Number three, with self-care. And you maintain the consistency. You can make it. Yeah. So it depends. But again, when you present yourself into a mental health facility like Tranquil with a condition, even if it is not going to fully heal, we are going to help you manage it in a way that you can go back to your normal life. Be able to function, go to work, if it's school, go to school, if it's a father, execute your fatherly duties as normally as you used to, as far as you embrace the adaptive, we call it adaptive ways of dealing with that disorder or condition. Yeah.
Okay, and again, that's why we're saying Tranquil is the best place to be. And you don't have to wait until you have mental illnesses issues. You can just pop in the facility just to seek help and to inquire more about your well-being. Perhaps you may be having signs that you have left out. And it could be a warning signs and a red flag on your mental well-being. But once you visit the Tranquil Med Center Karen facility, they'll be able to walk you through and to help you walk through the journey of your mental well-being. And let's talk about, we have been able to talk about how patients, parents and families can be able to support the groups and the patients who are suffering from the mental illnesses. What happens when one comes in the Tranquil facility? Do you normally do follow-ups with the patients? Do you normally do follow-ups with the parents of the children concerned? And I understand that children are very sensitive creatures and human beings. How do you handle children who have mental illnesses?
Okay, so I did mention about inpatient and outpatient. The first beginning point in Tranquil when you check in, either voluntary or involuntary, is to go through assessments. You must have a psychiatric review, and then from there psychological assessments, which comes hand in hand as a way of also trying to show you that indeed there is a challenge that we need to fix. So when children come in with their parents, of course, parents have to consent on their behalf, below 18 years, of course. It is ethically right that when we deal with minors, we be sensitive, as you say. So the parents have to consent on their behalf, and then you establish a therapeutic alliance with the client, and then you are going to work with that child to the point of being stable, and then from there the client will be, or the child will be discharged. Being discharged does not mean now the journey of therapy or treatment has ended there. We have outpatient program, and actually we have also aftercare sessions. So we have to keep reviewing after 2 weeks, after 1 month, in a manner that is going to foster independency for the client, not to create dependency. But sometimes now we have to collaborate with the parents. We can start with the child because we also want to make them accountable of what the journey they are in. So if we realize maybe there is some laxity somewhere, then we are going to incorporate the caregivers or the guardians or the parents on board. Yeah.
All right. And I understand that today children are closing schools, most of them, and I think they'll be at home for a period of time. How can parents support the children back at home? Because I think you mentioned about the addiction bit of it, the technology bit of it, and you find that most of the children nowadays, they are glued to their phone, they are glued to their TVs, they don't have constructive activities that they can be able to engage themselves in. For example, like cycling, we have football, name the sports, name them all. So what can parents do to watch out on their children, on what they consume in this period they are at home?
Okay, you've mentioned a very important aspect, technology. Technology is not bad. Technology actually is good. It helps us access information, it helps us connect, help us learn, and also get to know in the fast-moving world what is happening across the globe. So technology is good, but now when overused, it becomes, it creates negative impact. So as children comes home, this is what I can say to parents. Number one, create home. Make home homely. Make the environment serene for the children to thrive, because now parents sometimes they think that now when children are at home, they need to be very strict and very harsh on them so that they don't mess around. That's not the best way to go. Of course, I do say when you make home homely, the environment will enable the child wanting to be at home. Okay? And it is going to be a safe space for the child or the student to express. So let parents, number one, make the home environment warm for these students as they come, and let them encourage open conversations, open communication, where let us have a dialogue, not confrontation like the military style. Mimi ni mzazi nimesema na inafaa kukua hivyo. That is not the best approach. I normally tell parents, we are in an era whereby we need to be friends with our children. Don't say, yes, you are the parent, of course, your position remains and the position of the child remains, but can we befriend these children so that they are free to express whatever struggles they are going through? So let them actually encourage that open communication. Let them actually make them feel that they are being heard, they are being accepted, and they are being loved. Once they realize that, when they go out, they will always incorporate parents in what is happening out here. Oh, daddy, my friend is saying this, what do you think? You see, you'll be able to know what your child is going through if you've created that, how do we call it? You've created
safe environment,
that safe environment for that child to approach you. You are approachable. So let parents be approachable in a way. And also with that, I don't say that they also be too lenient to them to misbehave. Let them also create boundaries. Let children know this is nikivuka hapa, hii ni mbaya. And they can also use tokenism. Reinforcement, let them reinforce good behavior, of course positively, and then actually reinforce bad behavior in a negative way. Yeah, not using the corporal punishment, which makes children feel like better the day I die than the day I was born. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Justice, for sharing your knowledge and helping us understand better about mental health topic. And for a person who is joining us on this conversation, because I can see we have some reaction. We have Joker, who is a photography. He says, my favorite chill spot, enjoying the conversation. Thank you so much. We have Faith as well, and we have Kevin, who are saying they are following the conversation. Thank you so much, Justice. What are some of the messages that you'd like to leave to a person who just joined in the conversation, and for just a wrap up of the whole conversation concerning mental well-being and mental health?
Okay. So to my listener or my viewer out there, I want to say mental health is as important as your physical health. The way you go to seek the advice of a physician when you are not feeling well, when you have a stomach ache, just the same way you need to factor in your mental well-being. And also seeking psychological support is not a sign of weakness, actually it's a sign of strength. Have someone you trust that you can speak out to when you are struggling mentally, and also feel free to reach out to Tranquil Med Center for more support when it comes to mental health services. Yeah.
Okay, and my takeaway point is that seeking help is not a sign of weakness, as you had mentioned. It's a sign of strength and self-awareness. So that wraps up our conversation today. Thank you so much for sending your feedback and for sticking around with us. We hope that you'll be able to join for more episodes on this conversation about mental health. Thank you so much, Justice, for sharing your knowledge and for shedding more light and breaking down by demystifying some of the myths and misconceptions about mental health. So my name is Maureen Kimani, and our guest has been Justice Mokaya, who is a psychologist, counseling psychologist at Tranquil Med Center, Karen. Thank you so much. God bless. See you next time.
Hi, welcome to Tranquil.
From the moment you arrive, you're in a place where you're seen, valued, and supported.
We listen first because every story, every detail matters.
This is your space where your story is honored and your journey respected.
We provide care and comfort around the clock so you can truly rest and recover.
Wellness is balance, mind, body, and spirit. And sometimes joy itself is the best therapy.
Creativity gives a voice to what words cannot express.
Where needed, we combine therapy and evidence-based medical care, all personalized to you.
In every test, we ensure accuracy because your wellness deserves no less.
Here, every prescription is not just medicine, but it is part of your healing journey.
Nourishment is healing too. Every plate is designed to restore your body, mind, and spirit.
Behind the scenes, our teams work together to uphold the highest standards of care.
Healing doesn't have to be lonely. Together, we can grow stronger.
Karibu Tranquil.